Since it's going to rain for the next several days, I thought I'd better do a garden video today. And you can see my succulents are doing nicely. I kept them in the greenhouse over the winter, and I love my succulents. These are my lilies, and they're growing up beautifully. When I planted those, I hadn't decided yet that I was also going to plant cabbage here. And so I have several cabbages. This is going to be my little cabbage patch, but those big green leafy ones are flowers from last year that are going to have to be moved. My irises are blooming now and they look lovely. So I'm going to have to move a few things out of here to make sure I have room for all of my cabbages. Just in the rest of the garden, things are looking beautiful. There's so many flowers here, and it's just a gorgeous place to spend time. But in the vegetable garden here, we're going to be inundated with rain again. But for now, we have sunshine. My carrots are actually growing really nicely. I'm very happy with those. I planted another pot in the greenhouse. They'll take about a week or so to germinate. This bed has a lot of other onions planted in it that should be coming up soon. In fact, you can see a few of them peeking through there. And these are my English cucumbers, and the little green specks beside them are all radishes. And I want to get more radishes planted on the left side over here before it gets too warm, so that they'll have cool weather to grow in. My pole beans are starting to grow. Some of them have not germinated yet. They like nice warm soil, and the ones that are growing are probably those that germinated in the greenhouse. Finally got my peppers in pots, and so those two are jalapenos, I believe. And my little strawberry plant there, I never did get any more, but it has several strawberries on it, and I'm looking forward to them. Tomatoes are getting bigger, and they will be grown into those cages soon. You can see how much moisture is still there. We haven't had rain for a couple days, but we're going to have several days in a row, so they'll be just soaked. And the other containers of tomatoes are doing equally well. This little square hasn't been planted yet because I'm trying to germinate my squash and my pickling cucumbers. I wanted to put another tower there like that one to grow them on, but I'm waiting to see if they germinate. If not, that might be bush beans in that spot there. And there's another bean that's growing nicely there. You can see the poppies along the border there. We have lots of poppies in the yard. These are my sweet bell peppers, and there's two in a pot, but they'll get fertilized, so they should do all right. And my beets are starting to get bigger, and I'm excited for when they get nice bushy greens that I can eat the beet greens on them. And my sweet peas are doing well back there, and some of them are getting close to reaching that first rope. I could have put another rope on the bottom there, but I will just, as they get a little taller, keep touching them to the rope and they'll catch on. And my kale is, that's the one from last year, but the little baby kales are growing up good. I did take some of those out and put them in a pot for somebody else. And the spinach is growing nicely. To the left of the spinach over there, there's some little baby marigolds. I need those to keep the critters away from my garden. And my lettuce patch is growing up. My nasturtium on this end is doing really well. On the other end, it's almost dead, but I'm trying to germinate some more. I want lots of those in the garden to keep the pests away. Also, just another little view of the peas and beans. And I've been eating this chard and it's amazing. It's so good and rich and tender and sweet compared to kale. It's so much superior to kale. My celery is getting big and the radishes in there. Like I say, you need to get more radishes in the ground so they can grow up before the hot weather hits. Assuming we get hot weather this year at all. And this is a new addition to the garden. That's my little Cadillac, and it's been hauling my plants for me, which is a back saver because I have sprained my back or pinched a nerve or developed sciatica or something from lifting all this soil. And my little herb garden over here, Alicia gave me some dill and I'm so thankful for it, but that little guy right there, raised him from seed. He's the only one, but I'm very pleased with him. And my rosemary, I got more rosemary seeds today, and I have been stroking and smelling this, and it smells like rosemary. So I don't know if all those little ones actually are rosemary. I really hope they are, because every year I dry my own rosemary, and that's the one I like best for cooking. And some parsley that I also got from Alicia, and the cilantro that I grew from seeds that I saved from, actually not last year, but the year before at my other house. So I moved all my potatoes over here, and I came out early in the morning to see where the sun is. So the sun is in that back row. So I moved them to the back row. I do need to move bricks and put that other pot over there, but they are doing beautifully. This one, the soil is almost to the top. I can fill it right to the top, and I will. And then I won't be able to put any more soil in that. But the other bags expand. You can see the little lip on them there, so they will open up and get a little taller, like this one over here. And that bag, 3 of them, have a little window there, and you could open that window and actually take potatoes out and eat them before you harvest the whole pot. These are my soil bins, and this is my mix of soil for my potatoes. It does not have manure because they don't like manure. And this is soil I got from a friend, and it's got sand in it, so it's really perfect for planting things like carrots. And I actually planted a new pot of carrots, waiting for those to germinate, and I want to do one more. I use this grid when I sow my seeds, and that way they're evenly spaced and I don't have to thin them later. And this will be Walla Walla onions, and they'll grow mostly on top of the soil, and so I'm really hoping they do well. I'm still trying to get some zinnias to germinate in here, and these are my pickling cucumbers and squash that have not germinated yet. I'm going to put some new squash seeds and pickle seeds in maybe yet today to get them germinated, so I can get them in the ground. And I'm just leaving my the basil in here to give it a chance to get a little bigger before I expose it to the torrential rains that are coming. My poor little ranunculus was beaten up by the rain. And so I have here some, I can't even remember what I've got. Oh, nasturtiums and cilantro and some marigolds in there trying to germinate. And these are my little bush beans that you can just see that one's opening up. And I think I've been keeping them too moist. I found out that they don't like to be sopping wet. They like warmth to grow in. But some of you asked about my greenhouse. How can I stand to spend time in here? Well, I use that little bench for a seat, And I sit there and pot my plants. And I brought this shelving, the wood shelving I brought from the greenhouse at my old house. And a lot of that other stuff on the left, everything there belongs to Andrew, who owns the house. So I do love my greenhouse. It's not fancy, it's not big, but it's a dry place to work. The only thing I don't like is this guy. He set up residence in here, and I'm gonna have to get rid of him somehow. So far he hasn't bothered me. He's just kind of buzzed around. But yeah, anyway, that's a look at the garden today and what's going on with that. Thanks for watching.